What's up, guys? Frank from Linemaker Sports here. It's Monday, National Championship Monday between Alabama, Ohio State. We're going to talk a little bit about it. Make sure you guys chime in. Let us know who you guys like tonight in this matchup. It's going to be an exciting matchup. It's going to be fun to watch, definitely, between these two powerhouse squads, powerhouse offenses. One's a pretty good defense, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the other one. All right, so let's go down. We're going to break this game down a little bit for you guys and talk a little bit about what's going to happen tonight, what you guys are going to think is going to happen tonight. So make sure you guys hit the comment section, chime in. Let's get down to it, all right? So right now we got Bama against Ohio State. Right now you got it. It's fluctuating with the spread. It opened up at -7 and is almost up to about 9.5 in some places now. So a lot of money being put on Bama. And it's surpassed that key line of 7, now that's looking towards that key line of 10. So it's going to be a little weird to see where this line ends before the game starts. Now, over-under for the total, we're sitting at about 75, which has dropped a little bit from 76. And that's probably just a little bit of a reflection of it being a national championship game where people think that the defenses are going to show up probably play a little bit more tighter than it just being a running, a shootout and just absolute no defense being played. It's kind of tough to think that that's how a national championship is going to be played because you think with like a Bama defense, they're not going to give up 40-something points. But let's talk about it a little bit. Let's break each team down by the offense, the defense. Let's see where there might be a mismatch in this matchup. Let's check it out a little bit. All right, so Bama's offense, we know, third in the nation, very good offense. One of the best in the nation, obviously, at third. Ohio State's offense, second. So we got arguably the best offenses in college basketball. In college football going against each other. So you're expecting that's why that total number probably is so high. Now defensively, we know that Bama's defense is pretty good. All right, Bama's defense is pretty lights out. They are one of the best defenses in college football, and Ohio State, really, their defense is a little bit lackluster. I mean, they're in the top 30, but they're not a very stacked defense. They're not very disciplined defense. And where they do lack is in that secondary. So this is where there's kind of a mismatch in this matchup, is the secondary. The secondary for Ohio State is one of the worst in the nation. They are 116th in giving up passing yards per game. Now, flip side to that, Bama, their passing offense is one of the best in the nation behind Mac Jones, and you got the Heisman winner at receiver. They got a lot of weapons on the offensive end, and they're sixth in the nation in passing yards. So this is a clear-cut mismatch that maybe a lot of the sharps are looking at and seeing. That's why this number is getting steamrolled and getting moved up towards maybe 10 a little bit, because it should come down to about a defensive stance. So when it comes to defense and passing wise, Bama, on paper, looks like Bama should shred Ohio State's secondary. Mac Jones should go in there and just absolutely obliterate this secondary. And especially with those high talented wide receivers that Alabama has, it's going to be very tough to stop them. So this is the only really big mismatch in this matchup. So you got, like I said, one of the worst pass defenses in the nation, okay, is in the national championship tonight. 116th, guys. They are one of the worst secondaries in the nation. So this is a complete mismatch when it comes to a passing offense and a secondary, all right? So this is not something you expect. Like if it was Bama against Clemson, you still got two of the best defenses in the entire nation going against each other and talented offenses going against each other. Now, we do know that will Ohio State's offense be able to make up for what their secondary is gonna give up? Because we know their secondary is not going to be one of the worst in the nation, and then all of a sudden just show up out of nowhere and be a lockdown secondary. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that that's what would happen. Is that they would just show up out of nowhere and just be completely locked down on all these talented receivers that Bama has, and behind a Heisman candidate quarterback, which I mean, when it comes to the Heisman and everything like that, it's pretty cool to see a receiver win it this year, and all. But of course, there's got to be somebody to throw that receiver the ball, and Mac Jones is no slouch. He can sling that ball. As for Justin Fields, Justin Fields has definitely impressed everybody against Clemson, and the grit that he had after getting hit in the ribs and still going in there and just slinging the ball. I mean, he had some passes in that game that were definitely NFL caliber passes that were spot on. All right, and Clemson's defense is no slouch either. So they went in there and shredded Clemson's defense. Even even I mean, I was very surprised at Ohio State. Like, we had Ohio State against Clemson. We had that. We picked them like plus 7.5. But I didn't expect Ohio State to go in there and just absolutely massacre Clemson like they did. And they really did. They went in there and just their offense looked unmatched. Like, no matter what defense shows up, that they're going to shred them. So when it comes to offenses, I gotta kind of lean towards Ohio State. I gotta say Ohio State is probably the better offense because even though you got a Heisman winner behind you and everything on the Bama's offense, it just seems like Justin Fields and that Ohio State offense is just a shootout team. Like, they're just gonna go for it. And I don't expect anything else different tonight. I don't think they're gonna play conservative whatsoever. I think they're gonna go out and just try slinging that ball. Now, Justin Fields has showed that he can throw interceptions, he can make mistakes. So he has shown that. He has shown that he can make mistakes. So when it comes down to mistake-wise, I would think Justin Fields would make more mistakes, obviously, than Mac Jones. I think that Justin Fields is prone to maybe throw an interception or two maybe tonight. All right. Now, it depends, obviously, on the moment of the national championship. Who's going to be rattled? Ohio State's not used to being there. Bama, Nick Saban, seems like every goddamn year they're in the national championship. So, I mean, comes to experience-wise on the coaching side, obviously Nick Saban you're taking, right? You're always taking Nick Saban when it comes to a national championship. Anything in college football, you're always taking on the Nick Saban side when it comes to the coaching side. Now, so far we got on the offensive end, we're going to give the edge to Ohio State. Defensive end, we're going to give the edge to Bama. Now, special teams, we probably are going to have to lean a little bit towards Bama on the special teams here. Coaching side, we're going to have to lean towards, obviously, Alabama with Nick Saban, arguably the best college football coach of all time. And so let's talk a little bit about a couple trends. There's a couple trends that are hot and a couple cold trends. All right. So a couple hot trends for Bama is they are 7-1 against the spread in the last 8 against the Big Ten. All right. So last 8 matchups against Big Ten schools, 7-1 against the spread. So that's not too bad. That's pretty legit right there. You know, and they're not going against an SEC team, another SEC team or an ACC team. They're going against Big Ten. They're 7-1. So they have an impressive against the spread record against Big Ten teams. Now, a cold trend is something that probably is going to be brought up throughout the whole day is they're 0-4 against the spread in the last 4 bowl games. So they are struggling to cover the spread in these last games, which 3 of them have, I do believe 3 of them have been a national championship game. All right, so now let's flip it around a little bit. Let's talk about Ohio State trends. Ohio State trends now for a hot trend. They are 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 games in January. All right, so basically bowl games. They are 5-0 against the spread, so they're riding a 5-game win streak against the spread on that. Cold streak 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 after they win by 20 plus. So that's kind of a little bit of an awkward trend there. You know, after they win by 20 plus, after they blow out a team, they're only 1-5 against the spread. All right, so take that for what you will. It should be a fun game tonight, guys. It definitely should be exciting, and a lot of prop plays. There's a lot of things to look at for tonight. It's going to be an exciting game. You got the Heisman winner in there at receiver. You got Mac Jones, a great quarterback. Najee Harris, a great running back. Trey Sermon, a great running back. You got Justin Fields, arguably a Heisman candidate as well. NFL caliber. He's similar to like Jalen Hurts, I like to say, but he's a little bit faster than Jalen Hurts. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a fun game, and obviously there's a lot of money being put on Bama at this point because the line is just getting steamrolled up from 7 all the way up to 9.5. Wouldn't be surprised if it hits 10 by the time game time hits. And Vegas kind of got hurt yesterday by the sports books. They got hurt on NFL games because a lot of money was on the Saints spread. They ended up covering that spread, unless you grabbed it right at the end. I mean, maybe you got it at 12 or something like that, which I highly doubt really anybody did. But sports books got hurt on the Saints game, and they kind of got hurt on the Browns game a little bit too. All right, so Vegas is going to want their money back tonight. So it's going to be tough to see how this rolls because, clearly if you're thinking about it, everybody's steamrolling Bama. Everybody's thinking Bama's just going to roll in this game. And defensively, it's hard to count out. It's hard to count out Ohio State and just think this is going to be a blowout because Ohio State's offense is going to show up. They're going to show up. They're not going to get completely shut down. They're going to show up. It's up to Ohio State's defense. If Ohio State's defense can hold Bama whatsoever, this can be a close game. If Ohio State's defense can't hold Bama whatsoever, Bama's going to probably run away with this game. All right, because Bama's defense will be able to have a couple stops against Ohio State. That's for sure. They definitely will. They will be able to stop Ohio State a couple times. But on the flip side, are you going to be able to stop Bama, who have been rolling all season long? They've just been rolling and steamrolling teams left and right. So is there going to be a different result tonight? We'll see. Make sure you guys put in the comments what you guys think. Let us know here what you guys think. And hopefully everybody's excited to watch it tonight. It's going to be a fun game. It's definitely going to be entertaining. And you got two, obviously, a lot of the coaches poll and everything, nobody thought Ohio State deserved to be in the national championship. I'm sorry, but maybe they thought Clemson was deserving of that, and they came in there and absolutely beat the hell out of Clemson. So I do think Ohio State deserves to be here. Alabama, of course, deserves to be here. They really had no games that were even in question to question them for being in the running for a national championship. Kind of had the easy way, obviously, against going Notre Dame, who didn't even have that didn't have no business probably being in this playoff whatsoever. But didn't seem like any other team did either, where Texas A&M almost lost. And so, I mean, kind of tough. But Bama did get the easy road probably to the national championship. But let's see what happens tonight when these two high-powered offenses go against each other. Now, talk about the total. Total a little bit. 76 it started at, went down to 75. Like I said, that's probably just reflecting a little bit of Bama's defense, that Bama's defense could stop Ohio State a little bit, because to reach that number of 75, 76, 77, to get over that mark, you basically almost need neither defense to even really do anything and not have much stops, which is kind of hard to believe in a national championship game where you're just going to get a complete shootout where no defense is being played and these teams are just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on offense. Now, you do have two of the best offenses in the nation. You have two of the best offenses in the nation, but Bama's defense is not lackluster. They're not one of the worst defenses in the nation. Ohio State's isn't one of the worst defenses in the nation either, but their secondary is. But their rushing defense is pretty stout. They're pretty good on that defensive end for rushing. Now, like I said, all you need is a couple stops on either end to not reach that total of 75, 76. So it's kind of dangerous number where they put that at for 75, 76. Like I said, you either get one team is going to roll and have 50-plus points, and then the other one is staggers behind with like 20 to 30, and that's how you can grab it over on that game. Or this is going to be a tight matchup. Tight matchup where both these teams really fight it out, and in the defensive trenches, that can make you hit an under on this game. So it's a little bit, national championship games, guys, they're always critiqued really well. So don't go out there blowing your whole bankroll on tonight's game. People love to do that, just like in the playoffs this weekend in the NFL. A lot of weird stuff happens in these NFL games, especially this season. For some reason, a lot of weird stuff is happening. The refs seem like they don't know what they're doing. They look like they're making bad calls left and right. So it's very hard. In these games, you do minimal bankroll in this game, guys. Do not bet all your bankroll. Do not bet 5 times what you usually do. These games are not the games that you're supposed to do that on. The games that nobody watches are the games that you're supposed to be doing that on. The games that nobody even thinks about that are easy winners, those are the ones that you could go and put more money on. These games, put some money on, have it entertaining, sit back, relax, watch the game, and don't really worry about, feeding your kids tomorrow if Bama doesn't cover. It shouldn't be that way. You should just be able to relax and enjoy the game and maybe make a little bit of money on the game. So stay disciplined, especially tonight. This goes for playoff football as well. Stay disciplined. Do not go out there throwing stupid amounts of money on these games, all right, because they're critiqued down to the T, all right? So, like I said, especially NFL as well, playoffs, NFL playoffs, stay to the minimum, all right, guys? Do not go out there throwing your whole bankroll and blowing it all right, guys? So, tonight, Ohio State, Alabama. Make sure you guys let us know what you want. Hopefully, some of that info I give you guys will help you make that decision for tonight. We are looking forward to the national championship. It is going to be fun. hopefully everybody tunes in and watches. We'll be back with you guys with another YouTube video. We're going to talk about probably a little bit of more coaching stuff. We'll probably give you guys some more value videos, so that way you guys are ready for NFL Sunday. The podcast is coming up too for the NFL playoffs, so make sure you guys stay tuned in for that. Let's get it, guys. College football national championship Monday. Ohio State, Bama should be a great one. I'll see you guys on the other side. Till then, I'm out.